Alrighty. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics as Non-Classic. This is episode 1394. And Doubleshot number 1288. Alright. Two more DC trades. One is this, what's kind of in a way the start of an era. Well, for a particular run, though it's last year for a Raiders run. The other one's definitely an eye for it. Alright. First up, it is Green Lantern Corps Volume 1, Fearsome. Yep, this is the finale for Tomasi's run for Green Lantern Corps Volume 3. Not from the whole series itself. I still haven't finished reviewing the stuff from Volume 2 yet, but this is technically the one left to go for the first trade that collect issues from the third volume for the series for Tomasi as well, which he only did the first 20 issues. Yeah, this book contains the first 7 issues of this run. Now, on the cover, clearly you can see that Kilowog. You're probably thinking, okay, now, people know, if you can tell by the cover, like, oh, look, John Stewart's going to be here, Guy Gardner's going to be here, Kilowog. Okay, so are these three going to be part of the Green Lantern for this book? Well, mostly anyways. Kilowog doesn't show up to half of the issues. Don't know why, but he does. Mostly put, if you read this book, and if you have just read the War of Green Lanterns, like, this picks up, like, right after that particular event wrapped up. That's one thing interesting, though, about the Green Lantern books. It actually ignores, like, it doesn't deal with the relaunches, per se. Not particularly. I mean, for instance, let's say, Guy Gardner and John Stewart. At the time this book was launched, this is one of only 2 titles featuring Guy Gardner at the time of launch. The other, of course, was this book right here. Though this book got canceled, the 12 issues. And, oh yeah, by the way, Batman, that was one of like 6 titles featured in that book. Yep. So, basically, in the way with this one, there's a big plot that runs these issues that leads to the Alpha War, which happens in the very next story arc. We've already remembered the Green Lantern Corps getting killed off. So, now, is there any, like, particular leader of the Green Lantern Corps? Well, no, not particularly per se. That was something Rob Venditti came up with. Basically, it's mostly, like, John Stewart kind of running things in this book. Yeah, no Hal Jordan, surprisingly. Yeah, Hal Jordan does not have any of these issues at all. Yeah, with the exception of the stuff that crosses over with the rise of the the rise of the Third Army and Rise of the First Lantern. With the exception of that, mostly just a self-contained book. And of course, at one point, John Stewart had to use... Well, they had the interesting start of this book where basically you have the two just doing civilian jobs. Like, in the case of Guy Gardner, he's trying to apply to be a football coach because, according to the person he's hired from, he's definitely qualified, but it's due to the fact he's a Green Lantern, they don't initially accept him right away. John Stewart's an architect who basically built a building for a particular city, though he gets on people's bad side when he figures out, oh yeah, you guys are taking kickbacks. And, well, this will hear you soon. And there was an alien threat here. It's just a really fun storyline. I like the fact they actually have this basically be opening story arc for this run. Now, the thing is, when it comes to the very first trade of a long-running book for New 52, this one is by far one of the ones that had the highest number of issues because normal highest was usually 6. This is 7. Good start for this run. Excuse me. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the villains of the story. I'll get those in the arc here. It's about Federico Parisi. Yeah. They're a group of aliens they just come across on one of the planets they go to, which are attacking them. And it turns out these people are the people who made the batteries that the power batteries of the Green Lantern Corps use. Like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Though that's something that's only explored here, though, because next came Alpha War. But for opening story arc, it's really good. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Excuse me. Alright. Now, final thoughts on this particular book itself. Well, Honor Tomasi. Yeah, this is basically these 3 trades here. They have this collects Tomasi's run for Green Lantern Volume Corps Volume 3. It's a really good run. And from what he has told me, yeah, this is Tomasi. He told me that now there was a rumor swirling around that he left because he found out that Jon Stewart was getting killed off. That DC was going to kill Jon Stewart, and he pointed out to me, no, that was not the reason why he left. He felt as though it was time for him to leave. It was where it was supposed to succeed him, and he got placed with Van Jensen and Environment Diddy. Yep. Alright, next up is the final trade for Cyborg. Yep, the final one. Though, this one contained all the issues with this volume. Nope, it doesn't. For some reason, it just contains the final 3 issues. The final like 7 issues. Well, not exactly really. Just contains like 14 to 20. Now, the first I would say the first 4 issues of this book just deal with the stuff that happened at the end of the last book. Basically, we have Cyborg and his group go to their reality where they ran into Beast Boy and they ran into the Middleman, which I thought that was kind of fun. And this whole world is sort of like a cybernetic version of the Terminator universe. That simple gist of it. And it turns out though that the woman Samantha Tyler is a key to basically having the supposedly is an evil cyborg who hates the regular cyborg for chopping his arm. And then we found out that there was a other version of, well, his fiance. He's like, okay, I'll help you out. Basically find this cure. Yep. And kind of just abruptly ends. By the way, what happens to the robotic version of Cyborg's father? Yeah, he just completely disappears. Yeah, it's like this platform for him just gets abruptly ended. And then we have this sort of abrupt change with this brand new writer. John Stampa leaves the book. And it's placed with Kevin Grevox, which is a slightly better story where there was some stuff in a African nation Africa, where thanks to magic, Cyborg has turned back to normal human. And then by the end of the storyline, it turns out it was basically a time loop. Yeah, basically something like he basically saw the future. Apparently, it turns out taking on these evil generals, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, not much else to say about this particular book. It just okay. It kind of felt as though that the whole thing with Cyborg, the evil version of Silas Stone, yeah, his storyline gets abruptly ended for no reason. It's possible he's killed, but I can't really tell here. Yeah. I give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. Now, there are technically 3 issues of this book not in trade here, which I thought that was kind of weird. The final 3 issues are not written by this guy. Nope, he gets replaced with Marv Wolfman for the last 3 issues. Yep. Oh, and also, fun little fact about these issues. Each of these issues basically has a backdoor probably to some other series. 21 was backdoor, has a short story leads to the New Challengers. Second one, 22, is basically the Unknown. The other one's a different title. This one's called Blood and Stone. Yeah. This is a weird 3-parter. Now, I like Marv Wolfman's writing. It's perfectly fine. It's just that this story is just not one of his best works. It's just basically Cyborg versus a bunch of random robots. And I'm like, okay. They're just okay 3-parter. It's like, oh, let's just cyber fight robots for 3 issues. And yeah, that's main gist of basically the final 3 issues of the series is Cyborg fighting a bunch of random robots. Like, oh, let's have him fight this robot and then fight this robot. Like, okay, find him some jungle. Okay, fine. It's got good artwork though. Yes, fantastic artwork done by Tom Durank and Scott Nellens. Yeah, that's all I can say good about these issues. Just feel as though these are just okay issues. Yeah, and this is the second time Marvel has brought in the championship a run for Cyborg. He did the same thing at the end of the previous final for the series, and here he's doing it for 3 issues. And here's the strange thing, though. Like, if you read the end of issue 23, they're like, oh yeah, there's going to be another issue? Nope. The series got canceled in a blinky miss article. I think for a lot of people that they were just not surprised the book left, basically got canceled, because I don't think anybody was paying attention to this book. And I think it was also by far one Rebirth book actually was a pretty bad seller, despite the fact he managed to have 3 trade paperbacks come out. Though, it's just kind of weird, though, they couldn't just bother to finish collecting the main series in trade paperback form. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. As far as I know, there's no explanation for it at all. Just that, well, that's simply what it is. But in the case, my final thoughts on this run for Cyborg. Yep. Yes, my final thoughts on Cyborg Volume 2. It's a pretty weak run, per se. It's got good artwork. Yes, that's one thing you at least got to give high praise for this run, is the fact that it's really good artwork. Excuse me, yes. Not a single issue, well, with the exception of issue 5. 5, the last, 7 pages of the book has got really terrible artwork. I think maybe that book got a lot of mixed reception. So, that or the fact that the issue didn't get a good reception, so the artist never came back to the book. Yeah. Perhaps by far the most major weakness of this book is the pacing for John Stampa's issues. It just basically just kept dragging its feet constantly for no explained reason. And the fact also, this book had 3 writers in 23 issues. Yeah, it's not surprised the book got canceled. Because according to some solicits that came out at that time, this was about 2-3 years, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, that the book was basically still being solicited to have a 24, 25, and 26. These books were solicited, but book was canceled. Presumably low sales. Yeah, and then I think not long after the book got canceled, they ended Superwoman, and then they ended New Superman right after that. Yeah. But yeah, not much else to say about these trades. They're basically Grand Tour is good. Cyborg just okay at best. Give one 8 out of 10. Okay, so that's episode of review. Stay tuned for my other reviews, which will be Anime, Eden Zero, My Hero Academia, One Piece, and Boruto. Okay, to the next video. Bye.